listeners, to another episode of Cosmic Conference, the space where magic, mystery, and meaningful conversation collide. I'm your host, Sana, and today we are diving into a beautiful conversation that weaves together time travel, astrology, moon cycle rituals, and even the enchanting world of a witchy novel inspired by the zodiac signs. And listeners, my guest, NG Avant, she brings a unique perspective as an author, intersectional feminist, and a single mom who has embraced her neurodivergence as part of her creative superpower. Sharing a bit about NG Avant with all of you listeners, raised in a lakeside town in southern Ontario and now based in Ottawa, Avant's work celebrates diversity, intuition, and the magic in the everyday. Her latest novel series blends astrology and witchcraft into storytelling that feels like a portal through time itself. So, whether you are a believer in the power of the moon or you're just curious about how ancient practices can actually influence modern lives, this episode promises to spark your imagination, like it does for me as well. So, with that, Aman, welcome to Cosmic Conference, and I'm really, really excited to have you here with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Absolutely, Aman. Um, okay. Oh my goodness. These are my one of my personal favorites to talk about, to explore. So, talking about time travel and astrology. So, in your novel, time travel is kind of intertwined with astrology. So, when it comes to astrology, do you see it as a kind of map for navigating time, or was it purely a creative device for your story?
So, when it comes to my witchy series, um, it's so the it starts with a prophecy. It's based off of a prophecy that's based out of Greek mythology, and it's also based in astrology in that four strangers end up meeting in Salem in the United States on their
Okay.
27th birthday, and they discover their magic because they are turning 27 on the 27th of October. They discover that they have magic, and it all kind of unfurls from there. So in the prequel that's coming out on Halloween,
Mhm.
that's that prequel is them meeting and discovering that their magic is actually, without giving too many spoilers, it is tied to the different elements based on their rising sign. So a lot of people know about what their sun sign is when they think about astrology, which is based on the day and the month that you were born. So I, for example, am a Virgo sun, but you actually have a whole chart, a whole astrological chart based on um, the date and the time. And based on the time that you were born, that gives you your ascendant sign, also known as your rising sign. And then you also have all of the different planets. They are in different, they're assigned to different planets, different signs, and different houses. There's 12 houses as well. So I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of that, but and honestly, I'm not a professional astrologer. It's more of more of a hobby. I know very basic stuff around astrology. But it is something that has always interested me since I was a teenager. So when it comes to the witches, based on their ascendants, their magic has to do with the four different elements: fire, air, earth, and water. Um, and then they also discover that they have the ability to travel through time. And it's all part of this prophecy. and they can only travel through time on a blue moon. So the first time that they're going to go back in time, and the idea is to go back in time because they're witches. They're trying to stop basically the mass oppression of women that were believed to be witches and that were you know, burned at the stake and many of them tortured and killed. It's a very awful part of human history. So, in this first novel that's going to be coming out on the blue moon in 2026, these four witches that have just met and just discovered this prophecy are going to go back in time to try and stop that from happening. So in this prequel that's coming out on Halloween, that is kind of the origin story of them discovering the prophecy, discovering that they have this magic, discovering that they can time travel, discovering that it all has to do with astrology and the stars and they also meet their familiars. They each have an animal sidekick
Oh,
based in their element. So this is I'm having so much fun with writing this novel and planning out this series, because it's based in a lot of interests of mine. Greek mythology is something that I've always been interested in. Astrology is something I've been interested in. I've been obsessed with the moon since I can remember, and really have been tapping into the energies of the moon and following the moon cycles in the past, I don't know, maybe 5 years or so since I started writing fiction. um was when I really started tapping into lunar energy. So I'm taking all of these interests of mine and putting it into this series. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
that really sounds so exciting to me, Avan, because one thing which I really liked that we often refer. I mean, there's so many misconceptions and kind of preconceived notions around astrology, but here you are actually blending astrology into the character building, of the characters that you are building in your novel. They're kind of the background, and then you're also connecting it with a kind of um, historical event, which was definitely such an awful event that took place. You're connecting it with, so there are so many elements playing here. So I think that is one of the kind of striking part to me. So that is really such a brilliant aspect of storytelling. So thank you for sharing that. And yes, it must be really fun for you to actually, you know, um, etch everything and then write down the story arc, the character arc. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a lot of fun. And with it and the animals, the familiars, as you mentioned in your very kind introduction of me, I am a single mom. I have 3 daughters, and the 4 witches are basically supposed to they're inspired by myself and my 3 daughters. And, I also, I just became an auntie. Um, so I have a niece as well that, she's less than a year old right now, but she is adorable and the apple of my eye. So, I've taken inspiration from, from these people, these young girls that I love that are part of my life. And, I even, I had a lot of fun just chatting with my kiddos. My twins are, they're 6 now, and my eldest is 9. And, we discussed who would be the best for each element, right? Like, because I've kind of, named each of the characters, um, having to do with each of my kiddos. So we had fun coming up with, okay, I think this element suits this one's personality, and then we kind of went through and for the animals, like the fire element, we discussed, okay, what could the animal be? Well, dragon, obviously. So the fire witch has a dragon companion, and then the the air witch has a Pegasus companion, and it's one of the twins absolutely adores My Little Pony, which has Pegasus and what they call alicorns, which are like a unicorn Pegasus mix. And so I mean, she's thrilled at the concept of, the character that's inspired by her having a Pegasus, um, which is the winged horse, having them as a companion. And then my eldest is inspired by the water sign, so the water witch, and she loves to play Minecraft. So the animal that's like the companion for the water witch is an axolotl, which I didn't even know axolotls existed until I was introduced to Minecraft, and they're these little water lizard things, that are really cute, and they're like pink. They come in all sorts of colors, but the one in my story is pink. And then when it came to the earth sign, I was chatting with my eldest about, okay, there's so many animals, how do we pick an earth, like, how do we pick from all the animals? So she had suggested, well, why don't you do some sort of hybrid that's like a plant and an animal mixed together? So that's how, I thought that was really clever to come up um, with kind of a new mystical creature. So now the Earth Witch has a flower fox companion where
Mm.
it's shaped like a fox, but instead of fur, it has beautiful flowery petals. Um, so it's been a kind of a great bonding experience too for me to work creatively with my kiddos to come up with these ideas for the characters in the story as well as the animal companions in the story. Um, so it's been a lot of again, this has been a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying this. Um,
I can feel that. I can definitely. I mean, this is such uh, you know, uh, a human uh, background to this, a human-led inspiration with so much creativity, and that too in the age of, when we are all kind of worried about the AI and the usual mainstream stuff uh, taking place. But I think your creation, it is kind of taking us home back to our childhood nostalgia, our roots, and also I think it's definitely going to cater to not only kids but adults as well, because I mean it will really take us to so many levels of imagination and the power we have. So that is really really endearing, Avant.
yeah, I hope it resonates um with all sorts of generations.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a millennial, and so I grew up with, obviously, Harry Potter was huge for my generation, and Sabrina the Teenage Witch was part of, like, TGIF, the Thank Goodness It's Friday lineup, and, movies like Practical Magic and The Craft were really big when I was a teenager, so I really hope to tap into that nostalgia for my generation of women, um, and also for like for the younger I don't think that I wouldn't say that these books are youth. I wouldn't say that they're meant for teenagers, but definitely um for young women, Gen Z, millennial, maybe
Mhm.
elder Gen Alpha. Um but I hope it resonates with all generations of women, honestly, even and men,
Yeah.
and everything in between. I think that the story is hopefully is one of hope. The idea around it is to bring balance because th- there's a lot that is out of balance in society today, and the idea is in this fictional story that these 4 witches are supposed to go back in time and help to bring balance back to the world. Um, so, yeah, I think I hope this story is gonna resonate with all sorts of people because it provides an alternative solution to our current system
Yeah.
that involves, you know, a lot of greed, um, war, unnecessary death. So,
And,
yeah.
and then one aspect I mean, I may be wrong, but um, when we see, I mean, lately, when we are seeing, some of the female characters, whether it's written by a man or a woman, um, I think the the way you are creating the characters here, through seeking inspiration from your daughters, your niece, and from yourself as well. I think it's not forcefully trying to be, trying to prove itself or prove themselves that yes, I'm because that's what I'm kind of seeing, the shift in way, female characters are written. They are women, they are female in their own ways, but at the same time they have that clarity, that direction, that strength, and at the same time that vulnerability as well. So that's what I feel, as you are sharing. um I don't know, maybe I could be wrong. I'm not an expert into this, but that's what personally I feel like.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your insight and what you're taking away. And I think that's really I think there is no such thing as being wrong necessarily. I think that everyone is going to interpret like we all have our own lived experiences, right? So we're all going to be interpreting things based on our own lived experiences, our own world views. Um and I totally I think that is what makes the human experience, the journey so rich is all of these different lived experiences, all these different perspectives, and that we can bring those to the table. And I think that's why they say art is subjective, is
Mm.
because you're looking at it through your own lens based on your experiences, your views. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think it's wonderful. So I would never say anything is necessarily wrong. Although I I am anticipating that there might be people out there who will see my stories and what I'm trying to do with them
Mhm.
as um man hating or something. And that's like the furthest thing from what I'm trying to do. But I think that that's just going to be like based on again your own lived experience, your own worldview, your own perspectives. that
Okay.
maybe that understanding won't be there of what I'm actually what from my perspective, what I'm trying to accomplish through this storytelling. But we'll see. Who knows? Maybe people will get it right away, and I won't be accused of that. We'll see.
One moving on. Obviously, I have to bring this. So, talking about your moon cycles and your work. Now, from a practical standpoint, how do you see these rituals impacting someone's emotional or spiritual well-being? For the fact that one particular it's not exactly an insight, but something that was told to me that, especially when it comes to, um, uh, this women experiencing pain, muscle pain, or maybe joint pains. I remember someone telling me, and she is almost 50, in her 50s. She told me that whenever you have full moon, her joint pain will like increase, uh, I mean, drastically. And somehow I was kind of, researching onto that, and it's kind of, there's a definitely connection, because gravity is not only affecting, the water on planet Earth, but because our bodies are also constituted of water. So whenever it's a full moon, the gravity will also affect us as well. So I'm not sure whether it is scientifically proven or not, but I mean, what kind of impact do you see moon rituals affecting physically or spiritually or emotionally?
Well, I definitely lean into the moon cycles in terms of my goal setting and my planning when it comes to my career as well as my personal goals. And I view the new moon as that on on New Year's
Mm.
Day, or you kind of get that, okay, it's a new year. I get to start fresh. And you feel all this motivation, and I feel like I get to do that every 28 to 29 days with every new moon. Like every new moon is like a New Year's Day for me. Um
Oh.
and so it feels like a chance to refresh. It feels like a blank slate in a lot of ways, for me
Mm.
energetically. And then so I go through a process of thinking about what I'm grateful for on that new moon, and
Mm.
thinking about what do I want my life to look like? What do I want to manifest into my life? The type of lifestyle that I want, all of those things. And then I set goals that align with how like obtaining that type of lifestyle, obtaining those manifestations. I come up with, I chunk it out, and I come up with goals that are achievable. That's super important to have achievable goals,
Mm.
that I can accomplish over that cycle, over those 28, 29 days. And
Mhm.
then I use divination cards, which a lot of people think of divination cards as a way to kind of tell the future. They think of a psychic sitting down and looking at the cards and telling you the day that you're going to die, and there are people that are very in tune and intuitive out there for sure. I believe that, but for me, and the way that I use divination cards is I use them as more a form of introspection. I look at the cards and the images on the cards, the colors, the numbers, and the meaning behind each card, and I go through a process of understanding, okay, what is this bringing out for me in terms of something that might be happening in my subconscious that is I can bring up to the surface and that I can name it and deal with it, um and so that I can move forward into this new moon cycle with a complete
Mm.
understanding of where I'm at. Like I've checked in with myself kind of thing. And then on the full moon, um I find that is a great time to release. It's also a good time to rest. I this what you described with the joints, um,
Mhm.
y I wonder if that's just the body's way of saying, "I need to rest right now." I really I don't know, and I don't know the science behind that concept and the gravity. I mean, obviously, we know that the moon's cycles, affects the tide, right? It can affect the water on Earth. So we're made out of water. We're like, what, 60% water or something like that? I don't know what the percentage is, but we're made up of a lot of water. So I can rationalize that perhaps the moon is also having an impact on us because there's a lot of water inside of us. We're made up of water. Um, so I use the full moon to release any gunk that or things that are, you know, things that I might be angry about, things that I might be sad about, things that, I might be ruminating over. I use the full moon to release them
Mm.
out into the universe so that I can continue this moon cycle with, having let go of those weights, anything that was weighing me down. And again, I go through that little self check-in and look at divination cards again. And then I also think I start the whole thing with gratitude. Gratitude is
Mhm.
gratitude attitude has really been a wonderful practice for me. Being grateful
Mhm.
for the life and for things that I have right now in this moment. It's very grounding. Um, and I caution, like, I think that there was a time where this type of belief system or mentality was almost like toxic positivity, where you were suppressing and denying your feelings. Like, I'm not advocating for that. What I'm suggesting instead is that you find the gratitude in those terrible, awful situations. What was the blessing? What was the lesson that you took out of it? Yeah, it was painful, and it hurt, and it sucked. And pretending like it didn't isn't going to help you heal. But finding the
Mhm.
gratitude, finding the lesson in it, finding the, "Okay, how can I take this and move into the future with it so that, something like this doesn't happen again?" Or how can if I'm ever in a similar situation, how can I act differently and avoid,
Yeah.
making something even more hurtful than it already was? Or I don't know. I'm talking in like very general terms here. But I ever since adopting this gratitude attitude, I am just much happier, I'm much lighter, and I'm able to kind of move through things a lot quicker than I used to. I used to, like,
Mhm.
I think because I would suppress it and do the toxic positivity thing, I was actually ruminating on it in the background, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
so by like naming going through this process of checking in with myself, doing this introspection, naming these things that I might be feeling and working through them, and then finding the lessons from them and the blessings from them, it has really impacted me in a positive way, I'd say, overall. And then so that's what I do on a full moon. And then at the end of the moon cycle, I reflect back on the last 28, 29 days, the
Mhm.
lessons that I've learned. I write down some of my favorite memories from the last 28, 29 days, like the moments of joy, the gifts, and again, the lessons that I've taken away from that moon cycle, and then I start fresh again. Again, it's like New Year's Day all over again, and I start the whole cycle all over again. And it's making time for that. Sometimes I like to spend a good hour doing this. Sometimes I don't have time for that. Even 20 minutes to just check in with myself and do a very quick version of it. Um, it has been a game changer for me. And so I actually developed a moon journal that it guides people through that that cycle for 13 cycles, so basically a full year of moon journaling, on the full moon and the new moon, and it helps you with also building habits, which ultimately, like, when you're looking at wanting to obtain goals or wanting to obtain your manifestations, it's
Mhm.
ultimately it's your daily habits, your daily rituals that help you get you there. So in the moon journal, I also have habit building um activities so that you can start building those habits uh towards your goals. So say if you want to be able to lift a certain amount, then you have you have a habit where it's like um I'm gonna go for a 10-minute walk every day, right?
Mm.
Like something that is something that you can achieve. And then you work yourself up to, okay, now I can lift 100 pounds or 50 kilograms or whatever you wanted, whatever that goal is. Um, so yeah, that's my and my love of the moon. And I've always loved the moon. Whenever I was a child, I remember
Mhm.
looking up at the moon, especially when I was a teenager. And, I would be thinking about all the drama that was going on with with my friends or at school or whatever, and I would look up at the moon because my parents' house is close to a lake, and there was a rock beach that I could walk down to, and I would look up at the stars and the moon and realize that I was just a speck of dust in this universe, and all of my drama from the day just seemed pretty insignificant in the grand scheme of things. So the moon has always been a very grounding, um, tool element for me. I've just always had a huge love affair. Even sorry, and now I'm really rambling, but even I remember the first time, my first like summer love. I think I was 15 or 16. No, I was
Mhm.
15. And we were separated. I had gone away to my family cottage, and I was missing him so desperately, of course, because it was a summer love and I wanted to be with him every moment of every day. And I remember looking up at the moon and just thinking, the same moon is shining down on him, which is so cheesy, but again, it gave me comfort. So I've always really loved the moon, and I'm really grateful that I've been able to harness its energy because ever since I've started doing that about 5 years ago, it's helped me finish writing books. It's helped me, reach personal goals of mine, in terms of my health. I mean, it's been amazing. It's been a game changer.
That was out of the world. I really, loved listening to how you weaved it. It's kind of you are actually um narrating um a story which is seeking inspiration from moon. It's waxing, it's waning, it's cycle, and how it has been kind of romanticized, and how you have been inspired by the moon since your childhood. I mean, it's like you know such a beautiful tribute. That's what I can say, Avant.
Oh, thank you.
That's such and there's there's practicality here as well, but then at the same time this is so personal, and this is so um, inspiring as well. I mean, there will be a lot of skepticism around it. People will say, "This is all woo," and all stuff. But I don't look at this in that way. And I think that is refreshing to hear. So thank you so much, Avan, for sharing this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to share. And I mean, it works for me. It might not work for everyone, but it's definitely something that has helped me a lot. Um,
Mhm. Yeah, go on, Aman. Go on.
that's it.
Okay. So of course, if our listeners they would like to connect with you to explore more about the Moon Journal that you are sharing, and also if they would like to get a hold of your upcoming novel, which you'll be releasing in on Halloween. So what would be the best way?
If you visit my website, ngavant.ca, you'll find everything there. Or if you want to follow me on social media, NG Avant author. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok, Pinterest. Yeah, would love to connect and chat with you over there. And if you go to my the link in my bio on my Instagram, you can actually download when you sign up to my newsletter, you can download a free bingo card that when it comes to goal setting, it comes with a bunch of different health goals or reading goals if you like to read. There's different options. But it's kind of a fun way to do some goal setting. And every time you get a bingo, you can give yourself a little treat, whatever that is for you. And yeah, it's free. You just if you sign up for my newsletter, you can get this for free. And again, it's another fun way to set goals and try and achieve them by giving yourself a little pat on the back because it's fun. Getting a bingo is fun. When you get a line, it's very satisfying. So
Beautiful, beautiful. I'll make sure to have all the links in the show notes, Avant. And thank you so much. I mean, what a wonderful journey it has been through this conversation. I mean, we started from your novel. We explored about zodiac signs, astrology, then moon cycles, a lot of personal, beautiful moments of inspiration. So thank you so much for this.
thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was great.
Definitely. And to all the listeners out there, if you are curious about how your zodiac sign might show up in a beautifully witchy, time bending novel, you'll definitely want to check out Avant's latest work. Just refer to the show notes. And until next time, remember that the moon will keep cycling, time will keep moving, and the magic is always in how you choose to engage with it. Until then, this is Cosmic Conference, and I'm your host, Sana. Thank you.